Alvin Fiducia, he is one of the most prominent ornithologists of the world. Ornithologist means the scientist, branch of science of zoology, which is busy with, which is doing research on the origin of the flight and the birds. Although he's an evolutionist, he's the most prominent ornithologist in the world, he says, he makes this confession. Well, I have studied bird skulls for 25 years, and I don't see any similarities whatsoever. I just don't see it. The theropod, dinosaur suborder, origins of birds, in my opinion, will be the greatest embarrassment of the paleontology of the 20th century. Basically, again, the fossil evidence tells us the birds are created as birds, the dinosaurs are created as dinosaurs, and there is nothing in between. And anything in between is impossible. And the fossil evidence shows us, proves the fact of creation of birds as birds and dinosaurs as dinosaurs. What about the ancestors of sea mammals? Sea mammals,
these bottlenose dolphins live in the North Atlantic Ocean. Dolphins are not fish, but are intelligent mammals who communicate using a language of clicks and whistles.
Some whales are like 30 meters long.
Dolphins usually eat fish and squid.
So they are having a hard time to explain the origin of whales. And the first person who was worried about this was Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin claimed the ancestors of the whales, as you know, there are no huge sea mammals. Dinosaurs are not considered because they are reptiles. There are no huge sea mammals which could be ancestor of these huge whales. And Charles Darwin worried about this. He claimed in his book, Origin of Species, that the bears are the ancestors of the whales. He said, bears which went to swim in the sea transformed into whales. This is from his book. He said, I can see no difficulty in a race of bears being rendered by natural selection more and more aquatic in their habits, with larger and larger mouths, till a creature was produced as monstrous as a whale. So basically, that wasn't liked by his followers, and that was removed from the following editions of his book. And since that time, they couldn't find any ancestor, because there are, again, no such huge animals between land mammals. So that shows us sea mammals were created as sea mammals, and land mammals were created as land mammals. There is nothing in between. Actually, we did this illustration to help them out. This is, of course, a figment of imagination. Half mammal, half land mammal, half whale. Of course, that kind of animals, they never lived in the past. Whales, sea mammals were created as sea mammals, and land mammals were created as land mammals. You see a fossil over here. It is 3.5 billion years old bacteria fossil. This is the first living being in the history of life. It is a 3.5 billion years old bacteria fossil from Australia. This is the fossil of the first living being. As you see, it's a perfect form. It is exactly the same as the modern bacteria. You see a modern bacteria over here, Leptolingia bacterium, which is exactly the same of the first bacteria in the history of life. 3.5 billion years old, no change, almost no change. And the first bacteria appears like the modern bacteria, fully formed, it is perfect and complex form. Of course, this is a very good evidence of creation and falsifies all the claims of the theory of evolution. Some other fossils of the living species. For example, this ant fossil you see over here is 100 million years old. It is exactly the same of the modern ants. Where is the evolution? There is no evolution. 135 million years old dragonfly. This is a dragonfly fossil. Where's the evolution? There is no evolution. 50 million year old bat fossil. No change since 50 million years. Where is the evolution? There is no evolution. And if you check the fossils of millions of species, you always find exactly the same evidence. They appear in the history of life without any ancestors. There are no transitional forms. So basically, the fossil evidence proves the fact of creation by God and falsifies the theory of evolution. There are no transitional forms, no monstrous animals which lived in the past. Millions of species appear all of a sudden with their perfect and complex forms. Of course, this is a very good evidence of creation by an omnipotent intelligence, exalted wisdom, and unmatched artistry of Allah. And the classic story of the evolutionists. They claim humans evolved, apes evolved into human beings over millions of years. That's their allegation. They claim over millions of years, step by step, monkeys, apes evolved into human beings. So basically, the ancestors of human beings, they say, were some kind of ape creatures lived in the past. They call it common ancestor. That doesn't matter. And the most important example they claim to be the ancestor of man is Australopithecus. Australopithecus means southern ape. According to the evolutionists, Australopithecus, which they claim to be lived in 4 billion years ago, evolved step by step into modern humans. So, but before I want to tell you, of course, that kind of things that happens in fairy tales. For example, frogs, they transform into a prince. That happens in fairy tales. However, if this is done in the name of the science, then we have to respond to that. And I will respond now. According to the evolutionists, Australopithecus, they say, evolved into humans over millions of years. However, 2 internationally known anatomists, they are both evolutionists. They are very famous. The first one is Sir Zali Zuckerman from United Kingdom. The second one is Professor Charles Oxnard from United States. They specifically worked on Australopithecus fossils for more than 15 years, paid by the British government. Both are evolutionists. And after 15 years of research, they came up with the conclusion that they said, Australopithecus is just an ape. Humans are humans. Australopithecus doesn't have anything to do with the humans. So that kind of creatures, half ape, half man, they never lived in the past. These are all figment of imagination. These are all imaginary scenarios of the evolutionists, forgeries. Apes are apes, they created as apes. Humans are created as humans. The fossils of the humans appear not different from the modern humans in the history of life. Apes are apes, humans are humans. There is nothing in between.